Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
And Lee.
Hey, sorry we're a little bit late this week, but it's that real world having a job thing. I do apologise. I'm taking responsibility for this one. It's all my fault, so you can all shout at me.
Real life happens, but it turns out that it's actually a good decision because we've got stuff to talk about now.
Yes, because your job got in the way, but some people don't have jobs anymore.
Oh, nice
Yes.
link.
Yes.
Nice link. Yeah, we're opening with Thursday news, which apparently Thursday is the new Tuesday, but Thursday, we got there afterwards. That works, doesn't it?
Does it?
Not really. Anyway, there's been news happen today. First thing this morning, within probably about 20 minutes of each other, both Haas drivers said they weren't staying with the team next year. Just like what we have been predicting for how many years now?
The sex tape of Gunther Steiner and a goat, I imagine, will leak onto the internet very shortly.
They have been teammates for 4 years, and it's one of the longest, in terms of Grand Prix, like that they've raced together. It's one of the longest in the sport that the two have been teammates for. But it seems like it's a lot longer than 4 years. I get the feeling that they outstayed their welcome by about just as long.
Does it feel like it's longer because of all those podiums and wins they've had between them?
I mean, going on the speed of the
domination.
car, I think each race seems about 4 years for them.
Yeah, maybe.
It looks like both of them aren't just leaving Haas, but will be leaving F1 as well.
Well, Magnussen has already been talking about IndyCar. So he's presumably got his eye on something there.
And Romain Grosjean's finally going to the kitchen.
No, now, he says that he wants to go to a series where he's got chance of wins, rather than just scrapping to get in Q3 or maybe getting a point or two. So, is the Clio Cup still going?
Yeah, that's still a thing, yeah.
I mean, obviously there's some spaces for stock cars at our local track next season.
Yeah, just round the corner from Lee.
Yeah, you'd be able to hear him whinging from the old pod room. But yeah, I think we knew that it was coming at some point this year. Now, Haas have basically said it's down to financial reasons. So, pay driver fest.
Well, the quote from... Is it Romain Grosjean the quote came from? That various outlets are reporting is that Gene Haas told them, I need you both out for financial reasons.
We don't get any prize money with you two driving the car.
I think it's we can't pay you, we need drivers in who pay us.
Yes.
And, of course, Nikita Mazepin. I keep wanting to call him Marzipan.
Nikita Mazepin.
Mazepin or
Yeah.
Mazepin.
Mazepin Senior.
Mazepin or Mazepin?
I think he says Mazepin. But I could be wrong.
We'll go with that then.
We'll just have to ask, but Nikita, we will never know. Sorry. But yeah, Mazepin Senior was talking to Gunther in Sochi. And of course, Mazepin has been kicking around F1 for quite some time because he's tested for Force India a couple of times.
Yep, he's been somewhere else, I think, as well. I can't remember now.
Renault, wasn't it?
I think
Possibly,
it might,
yes.
might have been, yeah. Okay, so between the three of us, we'll have to keep filling because Lee's internet has totally dropped out.
Oh, heck. I thought he was being quiet.
Yes, just got that then, yeah. So
It's not like him.
it was my turn. It was my turn pre-pod. Now it's Lee.
So
let's
we'll
see
be
if we
buggering
can-
off
let's see if
early.
we can get through this together.
So yeah, I mean,
I think he's back.
Hey.
can we see him? Is he there? I'm on the wrong Discord server. Hang on a second.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Ah,
he's
you're back.
Hey.
You're back. We were just debating: is it Mazepin or Mazepin?
Marzipan.
Right, that's 2 votes for Marzipan. I think that wins. Because it looks like he's going to be one of the drivers because obviously he's got the experience for it. He's got the super license points. I'm sick of going on about F2 drivers with super license points.
This is the thing. I think he gets a bit of a bad rap because we know he comes with the paycheck, but he is reasonable. He's sort of worked his way up. He was all right in F3. He's been in F2. I think this is his second full year in F2 now, and he's podium. He's there or thereabouts.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a
bit crashy.
Decent enough driver. The back, he's got a rich dad, so that qualifies him for one of the budget teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, like when Fernando Alonso came into Formula One, he was one of the most well-sponsored drivers on the grid to get him into a car.
Oh yeah, I mean, you do get the drivers that come with the backing. Obviously, these days you do get the billionaires' kids that come with the backing.
Yeah,
and he'll be in a competition with Stroll and Latifi for who's got the richest dad.
Stroll's dad is richer than Latifi's dad.
He's got 6 cars and a house in Ireland.
But I don't know how much richer or not Mazepin is in comparison to Stroll.
Bearing in mind he's Russian, so as rich as he wants.
Probably.
And
I think at that point it doesn't matter to us how rich they are.
If they can afford to buy an F1 seat, we're never going to attain that kind of money anyway, barring several lottery wins all at once.
No. Or happening to have just the right kidney.
Bearing in mind we've all been out drinking with each other on many occasions, no.
Yes,
I think.
Let's not.
Yeah,
let's not do that. Let's not go into that.
What? Drinking responsibly? I've never gone into that.
Irresponsibly would be more. Yeah, absolutely.
And it looks. I mean, the rumours are the other seat is going to be another pay driver. I mean, could this be Perez and it saves George Russell's seat at Williams? Because that is the big rumour at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Perez has a lot of sponsorship, so he could quite easily be a pay driver, even though you would assume he would also be able to get a drive on talent.
I mean, I think. Go on, Chris. Sorry.
I think it could be. I think it could be another Russian driver, either Danny Kvyat or Artem Markelov.
I was thinking another Ferrari Academy driver, possibly the Russian one.
Robert Schwartzman.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's a good shout as well, because I do forget that with a name like Robert Schwartzman, he is actually Russian.
Because he doesn't spell it. He doesn't spell it the German way.
About Islet as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But does he come with money or a huge engine discount for?
That's the thing for Haas, isn't it? It would be money saving rather than money brought in if they take a Ferrari youth.
My bet is that Haas next year will be Schumacher and Islet.
Not Alpha.
No, I think they're going to put Schumacher in the Haas because the Haas will probably be a better car.
Interesting.
I would say probably Islet and a pay driver, probably Mazepin, but could be Perez. But I don't see a team like Haas getting rid of two drivers like Grosjean and Magnussen, and then going for two brand new to Formula One drivers,
which is why
straight away.
Yeah, which is why I think Perez makes more sense for him, because they're going to want somebody with a bit of experience in that car, and obviously Checo's been there for. This is his 10th. I want to say 10th season.
That would be about right. I think possibly more.
Actually, yeah, I
think 2009 might have been his rookie year.
Perez, I think Perez's rookie year was 2011. I think.
I might be a bit early for him then.
If you've got Perez money, who'd you go with if you got Perez money? Would you take the Williams drive or the Haas drive?
I think you would probably take the Haas drive because the car is slightly better, and for your sponsors, Haas has an American market and most of your sponsors are Mexican, so there's more overlap.
I think for the sponsors thing, I think you're right. But think about like 2022. Where every year the Haas have had to develop their own car more and more, they've slipped further down the grid. I'd have thought being with a team like Williams going into a big rules shake-up was probably you're at least going to an engineering company.
But you're assuming there he's signing more than a 1-year contract. Are you just going to Haas for a year to attract somebody else's attention?
I think anybody that signs a contract now will sign a contract for 2 years for those teams, because they'll want stability into 2022.
Yeah, the problem.
Also,
the problem.
would you not go to Williams? Sorry, I was going to say, would you not go to Williams because it's almost like a new beginning there, where
Yes.
I think Williams might be a more attractive prospect because you know what Haas is. Haas hasn't made any huge steps, and the structure and the management is still very much the same, whereas Williams have just changed theirs, the ownership and the management structure. I think the gambler would probably go with Williams for a chance at maybe moving up the grid a little bit in 2 years' time.
I mean, to be honest, Haas and Williams are very, very similar on a Saturday. So
Yes.
Perez has always said every time his contracts come up for renewal, be it at McLaren or Racing Force Point, Martin,
India, Canada,
Team Hortons, his sponsors will decide what he's going to do next. That's been his catchphrase every 2 or 3 years, round about September.
Also, he might be quite good in the Haas, because the thing the Haas struggles with is making its tyres last.
Yeah, there is that.
That is true. Or, if Grosjean's to be believed, switching the tyres on.
Mm-hmm.
So
They don't have a switch. Is that what he's been doing wrong this whole time?
Where is the tyre button? Sorry, that was not a French accent. I don't know what that was.
that was just panic radio.
Panic
Grosjean,
voice.
I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I can see why that would work, because I mean, now that Jenson Button is not on the grid anymore, get over it, Lee. Perez is the driver that is usually
May not be in the grid, but he's in my heart.
Actually, no, I've got to give him his full title now. Friend of the podcast, Jenson Button. now that he's been karting and sim racing with friend of the podcast, Matt Steele. That makes him friend.
Yes.
That makes him friend of the podcast, or another driver-in-law.
Driver-in-law, we'll go with that.
Champion-in-law. But yeah, now that Jenson Button's not on the grid, Perez is the driver with who is the best at keeping the tyres going and can get the extra laps out of them and the extra speed when needed. So from a technical standpoint, Haas would be the right move. But it's always hard to judge with Perez what his sponsors think is the right thing for him to do.
The thing with Perez, though, I know he's looked up for keeping hold of the tyres and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be given the same rewards anymore. That.
Well, yeah, 'cause he's not getting the upgrades on the car, is he? He's driving the car that's set up for 3 races ago, because Lance Stroll gets all the better upgrades by dint of being higher up in the championship because he's got the better car.
Yeah, but he got higher up in the championship to start with.
By not getting COVID.
By not
getting well.
Well,
it didn't last long. Let's be fair. I think Lance Stroll's done a better job than Perez this year, or at least an equally good job.
Oh, they've both been just as good as each other at getting COVID, definitely.
But I think he's looked like a decent Formula One driver this year. I don't think it's fair to judge Lance Stroll purely on the bank account of his father anymore.
Oh no, he's definitely come on in leaps and bounds. I
think he's better than Perez, like as far as a future prospect. If I had that team, regardless of surname, I'd keep Stroll over Perez.
Well, I mean, there's a 10-year age gap between the pair of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, so he's going to be a better prospect for the future because his is longer, unless Perez does a Kimi, which I wouldn't put past him.
Yeah, and if you were in a plane crash with him, you could shave his hair and make like something warm out of it because he's got really, really thick hair.
Interesting thought.
I thought you.
Which one?
To be fair, they do both
really
have good hair.
No, Stroll's got exceptionally thick hair because he's got like that woolly sort of. It's thick and fine.
His eyebrows are exceptional.
Yeah, that's like a layered fibre. That.
Although I think
layered fibre.
Although I think the driver to be in a plane crash with would be Alan Jones, because at least you could cut him open and crawl in.
It'd be Nicky Lauda for advice.
Or David Coulthard.
That's true. Yes.
Yes, that was only being discussed at the weekend. God, we talk about some sick stuff when we're on iRacing.
Anyway.
So, moving swiftly backwards. So Haas looked to be looking at pay drivers, because Jenny Gow tweeted earlier today that expect an announcement soon. Obviously not soon enough, because we hung on until 8 o'clock.
She said today, but she was wrong because it's not happened.
No, it's still technically today. So it'll be about 10 minutes after we press stop on the recording software. So if anything's come up after the show, expect a jump cut roundabout now. So that may or may not have been a jump cut right in there. I'll just make a note of that. 18 minutes 22. So Haas are possibly looking at pay drivers. Who else is out there with money? That's really the depends. Thing.
Robert Kubica.
Robert Kubica has just had his first podium in the DTM this week.
Oh, is that actually started again?
It's a thing. It's happening.
It's happening again. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Kubica had a podium, and is it BMW he's driving for in DTM?
Yes, I think so.
Are there any other manufacturers in it this year?
Not that I know. A fly keeps landing on my microphone. It's very annoying.
Mercedes aren't in it anymore, are they?
No, they wanted to focus on Formula E, I think.
Sounds about right. Yes, I forget.
We lost Lee again.
No, I'm just listening to you.
He's just soaking it all in.
Yeah, because...
Have Audi turned back up in DTM, or did I imagine that?
I don't know. I've got to admit, I just keep ignoring DTM, because I keep forgetting it's a thing.
Yeah, I must admit, when I saw the picture of Kubica with his podium, I was like, oh, that's a thing.
But, everyone...
I stopped watching DTM when it stopped being German touring cars.
Yes, it's Audi and BMW. In fact, it's mainly Audi. Audi Sport Team Rosberg. That's a thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's Keke, not Nico.
Oh, that's all right then. Ah, that's why he was so
but Nico's got his own Extreme E team.
He has got his own Extreme E team.
Oh, yes. So, if it's Audi Sport Team Rosberg, that's why he was so happy to part with his Porsche to Hulk, because he's not a Porsche person anymore.
Ah, yes.
Because, of course, Hulk turned up at Nürburgring in an ex-Rosberg Porsche. But yeah, yes. Everyone forgets that Kubica comes with a massive sponsorship package, and he's the reason that Orlen are not only on the rear wing of the Alfa, but it's Alfa Romeo Racing Orlen.
Yeah, it is, yeah. That's a possibility, but I think what's going to determine how Haas pick their drivers is... going to be what Alpha do with theirs as well, because I wouldn't mind betting that Kimi's probably going to retire, and Giovinazzi's not been good enough. So I personally think Nico Hülkenberg will take the experienced driver slot at Alpha, because again they're not in a position where they can just throw two brand new drivers from F2 straight into that kind of team. So I think Hülkenberg will probably take the experienced seat, and Mick Schumacher would take the other seat at Alfa, Sauber, Romeo, Orlen, whatever they're called these days. But they might have to react to whatever Haas do if Haas makes the announcement first.
According to Ralf Schumacher, which is a great start to any point, Nico Hülkenberg is going to Red Bull.
That was what I was going to say. Do you not think it's more? There's more of a chance of him to go to Red Bull.
That's what Ralf says.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. It's one of those things. Yes, of course it could happen. It makes perfect sense for it to happen. But when it comes to Red Bull, I don't believe it until it happens.
Yeah.
To be fair, Ralph has probably got a reasonable eye on what's going on at the minute.
Well, Ralph,
given the fact that one of the Schumachers is one of the key members of the Moves here.
There's going to be
Well, yeah,
there's
it's
going to
his
be
nephew, isn't
yeah.
it? We're not talking David Schumacher here.
Through Mick, he'll have the inside on Alpha, but David Schumacher's girlfriend is on Hungary's Red Bull program. She's one of the W Series drivers. She is like affiliated to Red Bull, so he might actually have inside on Red Bull.
See, I wonder whether...
Red Bull has officially become the Hungry Games.
Yeah,
Hungary.
My thing is, I think Perez is going to take Russell's seat and leave Russell without a drive. Now, this is obviously all going to rest on the shoulders of Mercedes. If you're Red Bull, is that not a good move? If George Russell is going begging, he's had two not exceptional as in finishing years, but two very solid years in Williams. So he's not a rookie anymore. He's one of the best friends of your current head lead driver. That you're a bit worried about whether he's going to jump ship or not because of the lack of sort of championships and win opportunities. So if you could get the future prospect George Russell in your team on the same basis as, say, Ocon went to Renault, I would take 2 years of George Russell over 2 years of Nico Hülkenberg.
He was very critical of Red Bull, though, wasn't he, George Russell?
Yeah, because of the way they treated his other best mate, Albon.
Yeah. So would they would he want to talk to them to replace his other best mate after giving them a slagging?
I don't think Albon's got. I don't think Red Bull have got the vast amount of options that they would want.
And I don't think Mercedes would allow George Russell to just go free and sign for Red Bull. I think Mercedes would rather have George Russell in last year's Ocon role, stood in the garage, looking for a seat for next year, and lo and behold, either Hamilton retires or Bottas decides he doesn't want a seat, or both. And there you go. You can plug George Russell straight into that car straight away. I'm pretty sure Mercedes want George Russell in that car. I don't know why they didn't sign him. The only thing I can think is that because this season was shorter, they didn't want to just plug him straight in for 2021. But I think, given the rule changes for 22, I think that's when would be a great time, if they're going to swap drivers, to do it then.
Do you know what all comes down to, mate? I think it comes down to the fact of you've got relatively stable rules. Where as soon as it was decided that we weren't going to get the new rules for next year, Mercedes have got two easy constructors and drivers championships, and they've got a driver in Bottas, which can essentially do nothing about the World Drivers' Championship. So they get to tick all the championship boxes for another easy year, and having a driver that I believe that once George Russell got up to speed would put pressure on Hamilton, if not do a Hamilton to Alonso in McLaren on him. Yeah. I don't think that's what Mercedes need when they want to pick up the easy trophies.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they delayed the new regulations coming in for a year till 2021, we were crowning Mercedes champions of... bringing the new rules in until 2022. We instantly crowned Mercedes the 2021 Drivers and Constructors champions.
Yeah.
You know,
I think Red Bull are getting closer, aren't they? But they're not close enough to challenge week in, week out just yet.
And you've got to assume Honda will probably start dialing it in a bit towards the end of next year.
I mean, that all depends on what happens with the engine, because I mean, they've been discussing, Red Bull have been discussing buying the intellectual property and working with Mugen, who are based in Milton Keynes, right next to the Red Bull, practically next to the Red Bull factory, or at least 3 squares away, because it's just the world's biggest fucking knots and crosses board.
Yeah, Milton Keynes is terrible.
So, there is the chance for Red Bull to do effectively what Arrows did in the early late 90s, early 2000s when they bought Brian Hart's engine and made it their own. All right, with hopefully a lot more success than Arrows had.
Yeah.
but obviously, they'll have more of a budget than Tom Walkinshaw did. So, I mean, that Red Bull's future hinges on what's going to be powering the cars come the end of next year.
Engines.
Well, you'd hope.
But what's the engine going to be made of, and what's it going to say on it?
Yeah. It could be a Red Bull Mugen, or remember it was Mugen Honda, wasn't it? It was Jordan that used Mugen Honda. But I think Mugen is more like an engineering house rather than an actual.
Mugen is Honda's equivalent of what Cosworth is to Ford.
Yeah, it's tuning and power-ups and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but Cosworth, was just an independent thing that Ford sort of bought into. But Cosworth had done work for Subaru and Mercedes as well. Much like, what's it called?
Ilmor. That was another one which...
Ilmor's a good example as well.
Because when Mercedes came back into F1 with Sauber, the engines were badged as Mercedes Ilmors.
When they came back in with Sauber in '93, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's what Racing Point should have. Those drivers have been ill more than the other drivers.
Oh, God.
But also very good social mediaing from the Mercedes Formula One team as well this week, when McLaren and Williams were posting the last time they were at Portugal, and Mercedes were just like, They did eventually find a picture of Mika Hakkinen, I think it was, driving a McLaren Mercedes around in 1986, and they decided to just use that as their last time Formula One was at Portugal.
I forgot it was going back there, to be honest. I completely forgot about it. I thought we were going to Belgium this weekend until I saw the thing on Instagram.
No, we've been there.
Yeah, that's Portimao. And we'll talk about Portimao, but I'm quite excited about it actually, because I've not actually seen much from Portimao until I watched an esports lap of it the other day. Weirdly enough, by McLaren test and development driver Will Stevens.
Yes. Did we talk about that last week?
I think we were
a bit
might have
like,
mentioned
wow,
it.
that's a thing.
I miss Will Stevens.
Yeah. He's now McLaren's test and development driver.
He sounded like a chimney sweep.
I used to enjoy the Formula One game, being able to say my surname.
That's fair.
Yeah, we'll give you that one. Now, we will be going to Belgium next year, but apparently there'll be 22 other races.
Yes, busy calendar is rumoured.
Yeah, there's talk of 23 races and a debut Grand Prix for Saudi Arabia. Yay, human rights.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Right at the back of the rumoured calendar. Dare we look at the rumoured calendar, which is almost certainly not what's going to be announced.
If anybody fancies sending me a link to it.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me.
I've got it here in front of me. I've got it here in front of me.
Good, you are prepared.
Bahrain is first, which means that Australia is the big news move for the calendar. This is the rumoured, of course, calendar. Totally unsubstantiated. Could just be somebody's made it up themselves. Australia moves to October the 24th between Japan and the US.
Geographically, that does work.
Because geographically, it's between Japan and the US.
Yeah.
It makes...
But the season starts in Bahrain.
It makes a lot more sense than Monaco, Canada, Azerbaijan. Transport-wise.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, now that's another thing. You see, because they start in the Middle East with Bahrain, and then head off to Vietnam, China, and then Azerbaijan. So Azerbaijan is rather than being in the middle of the European season, which we always thought was a bit strange, let's be honest, it's now before.
But why? It was the European Grand Prix.
It was.
It was originally, yeah. But the European season next year apparently starts in Zandvoort, the Netherlands, on May the 2nd. With then you got a familiar looking calendar after that: Spain, Monaco, Canada, Austria, France, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Russia, Singapore, and then the return of Japan. Obviously, no Japanese Grand Prix this year. But then they weirdly placed Australia. It seems very strange having Australia on the 24th of October. And then United States, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. So the only other season I can think that started and finished in the Middle East was 2010. And that was an eventful season where you had 4 drivers in with a chance of winning the championship at the last race.
What wasn't eventful, though, was the 2010 Bahrain Grand Prix. That was not a good race.
I'm just waiting for if that calendar is approved and it stays sort of more or less like that with the same weekends over the next 4 years, next couple of years, then in 2023 we will have a quality Star Wars experience in Holland because we will have May the Zandvoort be with you.
No. I think
you
yeah.
used a fucking crowbar to get that in, didn't you?
Oh, damn right I did.
Pushing that a bit.
Crowbar looped up either side of it.
Don't knock it, it works. Somebody will like that one somewhere. My mum thinks I'm funny. Sometimes.
Looking.
Yeah, she always said I took after me dad.
I haven't looked at how many sort of triple headers or whatever there are in that. There's probably quite a few. But yeah, 22, 23 races I think that comes out at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, F1 did say obviously you can't take anything from this year because everything's fucking shit. There were going to be no more triple headers, and it was just done that way.
2 races.
Yeah, it was just done that way because of working it round.
It was the World Cup, I think, wasn't it?
Because they were trying to have a minimal number of races during the month that the World Cup was on. Mm-hmm. So we got the triple header to make up for it. So
well, that's going to be interesting come the 2022 World Cup. Because towards the end of the season, if Saudi Arabia retains its place, you got Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, sort of end of November, beginning of December.
Which is right when the World Cup's scheduled to be in Qatar.
Correct.
Because I think that's running from the last week of November to about the 19th of December.
Well, what about next year, though? Because isn't Euro 2020 all over the fucking place? Which is, of course, now Euro 2021.
But they're still calling it Euro 2020.
Yeah, but isn't that taking place all over Europe at what will be the European season?
Yeah.
It's in Azerbaijan at some point. It's in Rome at some point.
Yeah, that's going to be June.
It's in Wembley for the final, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be sort of mid-June to mid-July.
July, which is when the British Grand Prix is on.
Helpful. Yes.
Do you not think there's going to be a certain element of the amount of money that's been lost by Formula One this year? You know, it's when you consider how much money usually pours through the entity. Do you not think there's just going to be a case of like, let's get this fucking circus moving again?
Oh yeah,
just ploughing forward, and that's why it's probably a good idea for them to have extra races.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing throw the race in Saudi Arabia because they will pay through the absolute nose for it because they've got all the money.
They haven't got a circuit at the minute.
But I mean, given what we've seen this year, though, with places like this upcoming weekend, Portimao, sort of putting themselves forward, like we're ready to hold a Formula One race if you want one, and Mugello and a couple of other circuits that we wouldn't have expected to see Formula One at this year. It's that some of those are going to be jostling for a position on the 2021 or 2022 calendars, and given the fact that the less Tilkerized circuits, sort of Mugello, Nürburgring, have thrown up really interesting races, then I think it's going to be very hard pushed to not allow some of the more classic circuits back in to the calendar.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see what happens at Imola in a few weeks.
I was
going to
say,
interesting.
Imola's been pushing for a return for the last few years, and I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago they actually had an agreement in principle should Monza drop out, and Monza was only saved at the last minute.
I remember years ago we were talking about the upgrades they were making to that circuit, and the reason they were upgrading it was to try and make a Formula One comeback, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
And that was a long time ago.
I mean, that was one of the. I think that was in the first season of the podcast, which was 2015.
Yeah, probably. Wow.
God, yeah, we've been doing this a long time. It'd be interesting to see when the actual official FIA sanctioned provisional calendar comes out, and see how close it is and how sensible it looks. And just to see,
as I say, that was a totally unsubstantiated rumor, should we say, and it could have just been made up by somebody who was bored at home.
It's about 90% of the population at the moment, isn't it?
And hungry, but we won't go there.
I thought you had the discussion about food on Twitter earlier.
We did.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff.
Yeah. How are the fajitas tonight, by the way?
They were all right. It was smoky barbecue flavour, which is, no, I've got to be honest, it's not my first choice of fajita spice flavour. It's the old El Paso kit, of course, and not gonna lie, it's dead easy to throw together a filling dinner.
This is the Romain Grosjean segment of the podcast.
So we'll get once.
No, hang on. I walked around the kitchen without crashing into anything, and my front wing is still intact.
Are you sure you've got an Alpha?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
Right, where are we next? Super license points I've got down here, because the FIA have extended the eligibility and retention of super license points to 4 years, and I think they're now saying you only need 75% of the points to qualify for the next step up.
Yes, which is 30 points.
Which would be, if you haven't done anything in the 3 years previous, second or better in F2.
The person who I think this benefits is Yuri Vips, because he was meant to be doing Super Formula this year, couldn't get there, didn't have time to sort anything out in F2 because he had committed to Super Formula, so ended up in European Regional Championship, which is a bit meh.
Formula 3 and a bit.
It's the one below Formula. It's Formula 3, European Open, European Regional.
Oh God, Formula 4 and a bit.
Yeah. He's ended up looking his way into a seat because of the injury to Sean Gelael in F2, but it's essentially a bit of a shit year for him, but you would assume in any other year he probably would have been in contention for AlphaTauri seat.
Because of course he is
meat grinder. He
is what is left of the future of Red Bull. I think he's about the only driver on the Red Bull Young Drivers program that's hit puberty.
He's probably one of the older of them, yeah.
Yeah, one of the few that's allowed to buy the vodka to actually put the Red Bull in.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then again, he's Estonian. I think the drinking age there is about 8. I don't know if this is going to directly benefit anything, but I've been seeing the words Schumacher rule all over Twitter. It's like he doesn't need it.
No, he'd be fine. He's fine.
Yeah, he's guaranteed. No. He's guaranteed top 3 in F2, and he was going to get. All he needed was to be in the top 6.
No, I think he was top 3 because he was slightly higher up last year.
Yeah, we discussed this earlier on Twitter, didn't we, Sean? He needed top 3.
I think it was Sonoda who was top 6.
3.
Ah, right.
So new system or old system doesn't matter. Mick Schumacher would have had enough points to be a Formula 1 driver next year anyway.
But I think what it'll do is benefit drivers further down, because I think you do need a certain number of super license points to move up into F3 and F2, so it's probably helping the younger drivers actually move up a series.
Not 100% on that. I don't think you do need a certain number for F2 or F3.
Because your super license is only for top level motorsport, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Which Formula 1 is the single seater version of.
Yeah, I think it's national F3 is when you would start getting super license points.
No, you can get it. You can get it in international go-karting. There are points available for that as well. Because don't forget, the points stay on your license for 3 years, so you can go from go-karts to.
I think national is lower than international, though.
Yeah, but international go-karting rather than F3.
Yeah, but national F3 is below international go-karting.
Jesus. So, national F3 drivers, you've still got something to aim for.
Yeah, the full list of series that you get super license points for is varied.
I'll definitely agree with that. I think you get super license points for finishing a race on Project Cars 3 or Mario Kart without using a blue shell.
But yeah, if you look at in F3 this year, there was what the hell's his name? Teo Porcher. I think he'd only done an F4. I think before coming in to F3. Because he's about 5.
Yeah, that is true. I've got socks older than him. But it's going to be one for other. I think other series as well may find benefits from it.
Yeah, and it will just be series that have been shortened and got cancelled, and maybe the FIA hasn't awarded the full points because they haven't done as many races, and there will be things that have chopped and changed. So it's just to.
Yeah, because of course the FIA being as they are, it's going to be there have to be a certain number of races in a series for it to count as a full season, and there's going to be series that cancelled after 2 races or something, or only managed to get 6 when they need 8. Somewhat daft like
Important thing is, sorry, I was going to say the important thing is that it's not that it's this rule isn't benefiting anybody going directly into F1 this coming year.
Unlikely.
But I think we know who the drivers are if they're the ones that are going to be moving from F2 to F1, and they've all got Ferrari or Honda backing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll be seeing Giuliano Alesi as one of them.
I don't think he's going to have Ferrari backing after this year. Bless him, he is useless.
Do you think the Honda backing for any young driver trying to come in now isn't going to make any difference?
Helmut Marko has said if Tsunoda gets enough points for super license, he's got a seat.
Was that before or after Honda backed out?
That was like today.
And it's Red
that
Bull.
was in the news today.
Who fucking knows what the truth is?
No, he has said that. I think he has said that in Portugal. Whether exactly when he said it, I don't know, but it was in the news today.
Was his mouth moving?
It's hard to tell with Marco, isn't it? There's a little bit of a touch of the ventriloquist about him.
There's a bit of a touch of the liar about him.
I wouldn't say liar. Just changes what the truth is with every sentence.
Factually fluid.
He does what benefits them, doesn't he? It's that's all it's about, is what benefits Red Bull.
I mean, at the end of the day, his job is to employ drivers to put in a massive advert for Red Bull. Or other Dietrich Mateschitz own brands like AlphaTauri.
Yeah. I see. What he did say was, I read today, was him saying that for next year for Red Bull, they need someone that's going to push Max. And that seems to be very difficult for them to find. I can't help think that's going to have a huge. The main guy in that Red Bull team is going to have a huge impact on where people go for AlphaTauri, Tauri, however you say it.
The T-shirt sellers. I mean, maybe the ideal guy to push Max is already in the garage with them. Just get Yoss in the second car.
Christ. That's an interesting concept, isn't it?
The only driver to put an advert in Exchange and Mart offering sponsorship space on his overalls.
Smart though, isn't it?
Hey, it worked. It worked. It got him a drive. I think it's what got him the sponsorship to get back into Arrows.
Universally loved by fans as well at the time. Like nobody had the support he had when he was in. He was essentially the Kimi of the time. I mean,
that is one thing that you can always say about Dutch sports supporters of any sport. When they find a legend in their own country, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be somebody Dutch. I was reading an article about the Finnish footballer Jari Litmanen, who played for Ajax, and I think something like the 5 years that he was playing in Ajax in Amsterdam, there were 1,200 kids born called Jari in Holland, as compared to none in the previous 5 years. So you can't take the passion away from Dutch sporting fans.
No, they've got it in droves, especially for their own.
So, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see Jos back in an F1 car, and a competitive one.
Do we think he'd fit in an F1 car these days?
Oh, he'd punch a hole in it. Yeah, I mean, whoever actually builds the bodywork would probably have to take out a restraining order against him for hitting it too many times. Too soon?
Maybe.
Not at all. No, never too soon.
Yeah, I was kind of worried when you both went a bit quiet there. Yeah, I mean, if Red Bull wants somebody who can push Max, I don't know, is there?
There's people on the grid that can do it. I think George Russell can push Max. I said that before. Obviously, Lewis could. They're not growing the drivers to do it in their program. That's the problem.
And I think that's been the case for the last few years. I'm coming round to the fact that I've always been of the fact that they're going to have to look outside. It's going to be Hulk if they've got any sense.
That's what Ralph Schumacher says.
Can Hulk push Ralph though? Not Ralph. Can Hulk push Verstappen?
Verstappen, no. Ralph, probably.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm all up for like seeing Hulk in a good car. Don't get me wrong, but I can't see him from where he is just coming in and pushing the guy that we think is like the equal to Hamilton. Do you think he would have a chance if he went in Mercedes? I don't. Hamilton would destroy him.
But I mean, that's the thing. If Marco's saying we want a driver next year that can push Max, well, where are the drivers that can do it that aren't tied down to a contract?
That's the thing. I think to get that driver, they're going to need to buy someone out of their contract and pretty much spin off the concept of their young drivers program.
I don't think they don't have to bin it off. I just think maybe have a young driver program. Like every team has had a young driver program for ages, but Red Bull seem to think that they have to bring, because they've got two teams. Obviously, it works for them, but they have to bring as many drivers through into Formula One to give them a chance as they can, and that's the positive side of the meat grinder, isn't it? The bad side of the meat grinder is realistically, if we really think about the drivers that have come through Red Bull that probably deserve to have stayed in and not been thrown out of Formula One, it's a short list actually. It's definitely Jean-Eric Vergne and possibly Al Jawsari. The rest aren't there because they clearly just didn't deserve to be there. I don't even think Daniel Kvyat really deserves his second chance. They didn't have anyone else to put in the car. That's the positive thing. They do get people coming through, but just because you've got all these young drivers doesn't necessarily mean they all have to have their year in Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, for every Daniel Ricciardo, you've got at least 5 Scott Speeds.
Ooh.
I think that's the big mistake that they made. They should have never let Daniel Ricciardo go. They should have given equal status to Max Verstappen, and they should have Mercedes the situation. And it's like done some actual driver management rather than just putting all their eggs in the Max Verstappen basket, because Ricciardo could push Max Verstappen.
But again, that's a driver.
Yeah, they thought they were going to hold on to him, didn't they? They thought they were going to hold on to Daniel Ricciardo, and he didn't. Daniel had announced to leave. And whether or not you think that's a good decision or a bad decision, he knew that he was never going to be favoured to win the title if that Red Bull car was ever good enough to do it. So he had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the verge of being the second Aussie that would say not bad for number 2 after a race win in that team.
Yeah.
And he did not want to be in that position. I totally understand why Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull, but I mean, anyone and everyone could take that Red Bull seat if they don't hold on to Albon, because we're all assuming they are just going to bin off Albon.
I think they have to.
Are they at the risk of losing Gasly if they don't promote him back up to the top team again?
I think I've read somewhere that Gasly said he's not bothered whether he goes back or not, and I think he's come to the realization that he's racing for the rest of his career outside of Red Bull, and he wants to go into a team on merit.
Gasly's going to replace Ocon next year at Renault.
It's not a bad shout.
I mean, with the whole new Alpine red, white, and blue tricolor identity that the Enstone team is going to have, they are going to want a French driver in there, and Ocon isn't proving that he is up to it now.
No, Ocon has merely done what Williams have done for years and proved me right.
But yeah, I think that is what Gasly's about at the moment, isn't it? He's just waiting for an offer from someone else.
And I think he's definitely shown that he's got the talent to get it. You take away that half year in Red Bull because the pressure was unimaginable, and everything that he's done in AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, that's just proved he can cut it.
Do you think drivers are just brought through too quickly now?
Yeah. In some cases.
Yeah.
Like a majority almost. Look at Stroll. Can you imagine if Stroll had just come in, it had his year in F2 or whatever, won the F2 championship or something instead of coming in? He'd have come in we'd have had a much different reaction to him coming in as what we've had.
Yeah, because
especially if he could.
What was it? European Formula 3 he came from.
Yes, which he won.
Yeah,
but he was the champion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it always seems like because Vettel was ridiculously young, wasn't he, when he came in? He turned into a pretty instant superstar when he won that race. I keep saying AlphaTauri. No, AlphaTauri.
Toro Rosso they were then.
Toro Rosso. And it seemed like from that moment, it was this massive youth push to find the youngest Formula One drivers, and when you look at the grid, we've had young Formula One drivers come in, and we've like Jenson Button was only 19, wasn't he, when he signed? But there seems to be more misses than hits when you bring people through really early.
Yeah, I think that has happened quite a bit because there's been some, and you look at them and you think, yeah, okay, they're raw, they've got potential, but they're still developing as drivers, and by the time they would have hit sort of regular point scoring stage, they've been binned for 3 years, and they're racing in DTM.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it's quite odd with. Albon's kind of fallen apart a little bit now, but when you had Albon, Lando, and George Russell come through, all three of those seemed like they were going to be sort of long stay Formula One guys, but I think Albon maybe might have had his time in Formula One this year. I struggled to say Norris and Russell then, because when I said Albon, I almost finished it off with Simon and Theodore.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I don't think Albon is done in F1, and I think he'll get a demotion. But whose seat he takes in AlphaTauri, I don't know, because Kvyat this time round is a lot better than he was in his first stint.
But he's not as good as Gasly.
But he's still a better driver. Is he going to be a better driver than Albon? Are they going to go back to what they used to do? What Red Bull used to do when they first started? Because it was, Clean and Liuzzi that were sharing a car for a year alongside David Coulthard.
I think it was, yeah.
Are they going to go back to doing that? It's like both drivers turn up and we'll decide who gets the seat on Friday morning.
No, I just think that was an odd time.
I think as well,
they clearly wanted their two young drivers in there, but they needed David Coulthard for the like for the development side of the team.
Well, to guarantee that the car was going to get better at the next race and stand a chance of getting it to the finish line.
I think it's just from a Red Bull point of view, though. I don't know what the point of Kvyat is. As much as he has improved, he doesn't look like a Red Bull driver. He's kind of gone past the point of being an AlphaTauri driver.
It's like they're trying to grow Haas drivers.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that they were they just hoping someone was going to take him off their hands. What are they doing?
I think it was just the lack of drivers, wasn't it? They didn't have anyone to fill the seat.
Oh yeah, no, I get why he came back in. I'm not sure that there's a real purpose to him beyond this year. Yeah.
No, I don't think there is.
I mean, AlphaTauri now isn't the Red Bull development team. They're trying to make it just another team. Because you've got two drivers in there that weren't good enough for Red Bull. But while Helmut Marko is playing his power games and moving drivers between the two, it's never going to be the sister team that Franz Tost wants it to be.
I don't think it's power games. He's just doing, it's not there to be a sister team, is it? It's there to be a feeder team.
Yeah, it's the drivers. I know it's not you saying it's like a Red Bull development team, but it still is, because obviously it's still Dietrich Mateschitz is it's still under the umbrella, and the drivers, when they sign the contract, don't sign to just drive for one team and one team only. They are assigned to one of the four seats. And it's up to Helmut Marko and Dietrich Mateschitz together to decide and probably Christian Horner, which of those four drivers goes into which of those, two teams.
Mm.
Well, didn't Horner say a while back he's got next to no say in who drives for him? He just gets told.
That's what he says. It's fucking Christian Horner. I wouldn't believe him if he waved a piece of ham at me and told me it was fucking,
Ham.
If you waved a piece of ham at me and told me it was ham, I would say, nah, mate, that's clearly a dairy milk.
Get your twirl away from me.
We haven't actually had a full silly season special this year, have we? It's
because every bloody episode has been yeah. Every episode's been a bloody silly season special. It's been ridiculous. The amount of times we've gone over the same seats and who might take which seat is it's a bit much, but
yeah, I mean we've not mentioned Mahiva Raghunathan for the other Haas seat.
Oh no, I've seen that mentioned on Twitter, but I think someone was taking the piss. I don't think it was a serious
Pastor
shout.
Maldonado.
Hey, he's available.
Let's not forget the massive silly season thing here is the fact that Lewis Hamilton has still not got a contract for next year.
This is true. He could go to Red Bull.
He could go to Haas.
He could retire.
And
if he does, then George Russell can leave Williams.
I mean, you would assume, particularly given the rules extension into next year, the fact that Mercedes will definitely win that title again, you would assume he would want to hang on for title number 8.
You would.
But
it would be ridiculous for him to decide to hang up his helmet now. It would be ridiculous. The only way that happens is if something happens in the negotiations and Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton fall out and can't come to an agreement. That's the only way that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hamilton's going to stay around next season, almost definitely, and probably 1, maybe 2 years after the aero rule changes. Depends how easy he finds it. He might want to stick around until 2024, 25. But he'd be knocking on the door of 40 then, I think.
Yeah,
so
he'd be Kimi's age. Kimi's still going.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, it's it's totally possible that he could still be around in 3-4 years' time. That's not unreasonable at all. But I can see him definitely being around for the next 2 years at least. What next year, because the rules are pretty much the same as they are this year. Very little is changing from going into 2021. In fact, it's pretty much the same car, isn't it? And then you've got the new rule change. I don't know why a champion would want to retire when there's a new rule change. I mean, it might be that Mercedes or Lewis Hamilton, don't adapt particularly well to the new aero rules, and for some reason they're not on top. But by that time, it doesn't matter anyway. He will have X amount of championships. We're pretty certain he's going to win this one, so that'd be 7, possibly 8 championships. And if there's no adaptation, right, fine, he can retire at the end of 2022 or, whenever that contract runs out. I just don't see it happening. I mean, it's possible, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it happening just yet.
No, might even get the 100 wins. How many wins has he got?
91. So yeah, definitely be on for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should see that happening in the European season next year, depending on what the calendar looks like.
100 Grand Prix wins. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
I mean, nobody thought it was going to be possible to get 91 again.
No.
But
I certainly didn't.
But I mean, we discussed that a couple of weeks ago. No, possibly longer. I don't know. I've lost track of when we are. It's 2020. We're recording a show on a Thursday night, just before the Portuguese Grand Prix. What the hell is this world at the moment, anyway?
I don't know. It's crazy. That's what
should we preview the 2020?
We've got anything
Portuguese
else on
Grand
the
Prix?
list?
Let us preview.
We've got a list.
We just have one more thing that we haven't talked about, and I've just put it on the running order as Strollvid.
Oh yes.
Because both the Strolls have had COVID, and apparently,
did Dad Stroll have it as well?
Yes,
Oh.
Lawrence hasn't had a negative test yet, so it looks like he's not going to be in Portugal.
Oh hell.
But the FIA are looking at Racing Point for a potential serious break of COVID regulations.
Well, they've blamed the doctor, haven't they? They've said that he said he felt ill. They consulted with the doctor and they said, stomach thing, not a COVID thing, go rest, but we're not going to test you. And it was only because they brought in extra testing after Perez had coronavirus. So they do a routine test of everyone when they get home after the race. So they tested Stroll after he'd flown away from wherever the last race was, Eiffel. And it was only then that he was tested after coming down with symptoms.
And then it turns out when his dad got home to Switzerland as well, because Lance flew home on the Sunday morning before the race.
Yeah.
When Lawrence flew back on the Sunday evening, he was tested when he got home as well, and it turned out he'd had it.
Which is not ideal, because presumably that means he was still, just mingling with the team.
Yeah.
Everyone else tested negative, I believe, though.
Yeah.
Was, I think, what they said.
Yeah, they are the only 2 positive tests in the team, but the FIA are looking at what they did and how that managed to slip through the net, so there could be a possibly hefty financial penalty for Racing Point.
Soon to be ex-team doctor.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. So that's going to be a story to keep an eye out for this weekend. And as things stand, the last time I checked was this morning, and Lawrence Stroll hadn't had a negative test. So it looks like he's not going to be in Portugal.
Should we all just be honest about this in the most allegedly way possible that won't get us sued? The whole reason this happened is because Canada are so tight, aren't they, on everything? They're so locked down. Isn't it? If both Strolls went back to Canada after the last race,
They went to Switzerland.
They didn't. They went back to Switzerland.
Oh, didn't they? What's Switzerland like for letting people in? Because
I think they're all right.
would say that there's more chance that they it's more chance the billionaires didn't get tested so they could go where they wanted to go.
I think Switzerland is moderately all right in terms of movement.
Are they more in line with Sweden? Are they?
I think so, but I haven't checked the Swedish and Swiss travel regulations recently.
I know the Canary Islands has just opened up to British tourists again without a quarantine period, so I could go and see my parents.
If you had a passport.
If my passport hadn't have expired 6 weeks ago. I'm just throwing that one in as an aside. But yeah, that could be one to look out for this weekend, so there could be probably, I'd say, financial penalties against Racing Point for that. Chances are there'll be a new team doctor, and Possibly more stringent COVID testing over the course of the weekend.
Possibly. Like I say, they did add in extra testing off their own bat, more than what the FIA make them do anyway after Perez got ill. So they, in theory, have been being very vigilant, but obviously that one got through.
Doesn't anyone else think, though, that the COVID policies and bubbles that are being put in are just lip service for television?
Yeah.
Because outside of that, they don't seem to be there. So there's probably your silly buggers, and there'll be some sort of fine put there so something can be written down, there can be a story made about it. But I don't think the day-to-day operation of Formula One will change.
No, I mean, look at Instagram and stuff. As soon as the drivers are away from their teams, they're all on one jet next to each other, no face masks. They're all, hugging on the podium. That's,
it's nonsense. The whole bubble thing is nonsense. But as I've sort of said on Instagram, on my Twitter today, is that COVID has managed to get Hulkenberg into more cars than Uber.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah. He has profited.
Well, we've all seen the memes, haven't we? Everybody, because we were talking about Valentino Rossi getting COVID. Yes. Hulkenberg straight in.
Hulkenberg dressed as the Queen was the best.
Yeah. If the Queen gets COVID, Hulkenberg dresses the Queen.
So some of the just in general, some of the memes COVID has given us has made it almost worth the lockdowns. I know it's a very, very British one here, but all the memes about the people changing jobs because they're in the arts and stuff.
Yeah.
The memes with that ballet dancer were amazing. I saw one the other day with Keir Starmer. They said, Keir's the leader of the opposition. He just doesn't know it yet. It's it's brilliant.
Unfortunately, whoever made it called him Keith.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Keith.
Yeah, but do you not think that was part of the joke? I think that was part of the joke because he didn't take Keir seriously as a name.
But I don't. Yeah, at least it would have been funnier if his name was right.
Yeah.
Shall we preview the Portuguese Grand Prix?
Yes.
We can try.
We can have a go. We know next to bugger all about the circuit. I am going on a tweet from Valtteri Bottas about it being a undulating circuit.
Right.
It is, yeah. I watched as I was saying earlier, the esports lap with Will Stevens, where he sort of gave the lowdown on what the circuit is like. It looks quite good, actually. It's kind of halfway between Mugello in terms of sort of the up and down. There's quite a few elevation changes, and maybe Barcelona as well, a little bit like Barcelona in Spain. It's in terms of the way the circuit kind of feels, I guess, but it looks like quite a good circuit. I don't know that last time that any of the even the junior formulas may have raced. I'm sure we discussed that recently. Anyway,
there was an F1 test there in I want to say 2011,
2009.
Was it 9?
Like
It's going back a little while, yeah.
Yeah, but we discussed this a few weeks ago. But then I think so like an F2 race in 2014 or something. So I think it's going to produce. I was saying before about these classic circuits, and I know Portimao is not really a classic circuit because F1's never been there, but it's not a
Tilcadrome.
It's not a homogenized sort of. This has been designed to create good racing. Here is a long straight with a twisty bit at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just. It looks like a good flowing race circuit.
One that's been built to the local geography rather than one that's been designed on a computer and the local geography has been altered to accommodate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a good. I think the circuit is good. I don't know whether it will produce a good race. I hope it does. It flows really well. The flow of the circuit is quite good too. Some difficult bits. I don't know if the circuit's available any sort of like iRacing or R Factor or anything like that. But obviously, it's not available on the current Formula One game. But I would look forward to playing that circuit on a game much more than I would look forward to playing somewhere like freaking Hanoi street circuit, which, let's be honest, is the worst circuit on Formula One 2020.
Do you know what? I got Formula One 2020 on launch day, and I've still not played Hanoi.
Oh no, you need to play Hanoi just to get so confused with that third sector. I mean, okay, I don't mind a challenge. Okay, so where am I in this sector? But it's like the entire Korea circuit smashed into one sector.
Yeah, okay. I'll report back when I've had a go. Can you tell I haven't done the latest Formula League challenge, which there's kind of a pause going on Formula League again, just due to sponsorship issues. Hopefully we'll have that.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have that sorted out for next week, and I'm just calling a halt to things on it now until that's resolved. So the current race is closed. The next race will be launched on the next show, or the one after that, because of course we're later this week, and we'll get it sorted. Promise. Right, we'll do some predictions. Dan is going for, because he hasn't told me any different, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. And we have a guest predictor already lined up this week because of the problems that we had last time. I think we've now got enough guest predictors until the end of the season. So Lucas, who asked to be the guest predictor first when I put the emergency tweet out, but then was the second person to send the predictions in, so I said he was too late. He's going for this week's, and he's going for a Bottas win, Verstappen second, and Hamilton third, with Rockstar's Kimi radio messages. And he's put villain, but we all know it's wankers. Mm-hmm. Inexperienced marshals. Which is
heroes and villains is great. Inexperienced marshals, I don't know. If it's a Grade 1 FIA circuit, that means the marshals will have seen some fairly decent action there already. It's not like it's just like stock cars and then it's Formula One.
Yeah, I mean they've had sort of fairly high level international GT and endurance racing. I think the Blancpain series has raced there for the last few years.
They have European Le Mans as well, I think.
Yeah, because I mean the only time I've seen a lap of the circuit was a live on board from one of the Coronel's cars in a 24-hour race a couple of months back.
Yeah, they've got Le Mans, FIA GT Championship. They've got World Superbikes, and they will have MotoGP next month as well. So you would hope that they've got a vague idea what they're doing.
And of course, the marshals aren't just based at the circuit, because I'm sure that there's marshals at Estoril as well, and various Spanish circuits which aren't really all that far from Portugal, and I think it's sort of fairly easy on travel in that area of Spain to get into Portugal as well.
I'm not entirely sure how easy it would be for somebody to... And also, don't forget, Estoril hasn't seen Formula One since 1996.
True, but Estoril, again, has had some fairly high-level motorsport events.
It will have done.
Yeah. In the intervening, 24 years.
Yes, since the last Portuguese Grand Prix.
Wow, I'm so old. One of you was meant to say, no, you're not.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no, you're not. Anyway.
Hey, fella.
Surely that would be Sean's job.
I was reading about Portimao. I wasn't paying attention.
Got you. Okay.
In my day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, right, let's do some predictions. And who's going first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't mind. I think Max Verstappen is going to win this race. To me, it seems like a circuit that's going to suit... probably a circuit that suits Mercedes brilliantly, because it's Mercedes. And also with it being a new circuit, it's very difficult to look past Lewis Hamilton winning at yet another different circuit. However, I'm going for Max Verstappen because I just think... the circuit's going to suit him and the Red Bull, and I'll go for a Hamilton second.
Okay.
And who do I go for third? I'll go for a Bottas third. I'll switch my Verstappen Hamilton. Verstappen Hamilton Bottas for me.
Okay. Who's up next?
I was also going to go for a Verstappen win. I was going to go for a Hamilton second, and I'll go for another Ricciardo third.
Ooh,
Right, okay. Lee, do you want to go?
Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
That is known as the Dan trifecta.
Absolute snooze fest as well. It's absolute flag to flag, like narcolepsy.
It is the most likely and least interesting podium prediction possible.
Well, I'm going to go for a Hamilton win, Verstappen second, and I'm going to throw a wild card in. I'm going to go Perez third.
Oh.
That would be good.
Yeah.
You know, again, we're going into the unknown, so yeah, I'll go with that because if it comes good, I'll get more points.
That's the idea.
That is the plan. Right, if you want to get your predictions in, go to threelegsportwheels.com, go to the games section, and go to the Grand Prix Prediction League. Put in your top three, pole position, fastest lap, number of DNFs, and you've still got the option to double up on one race this season if you haven't already. And you've got until 5 minutes before the start of Q1 on Saturday. Is it shunting time?
Yes.
So,
Abso-funkin-lutely.
Cool. Right. Devices down.
Does Bruno count as a device? Because he is all up in my business.
I mean, he's a podcat, so he's part of the team. Right, Lee, whose is this week's?
This one is from... Is it Verbeek or Verbank? How do you pronounce that?
Baz Verbeek?
Is it Verbeek?
I think it's Verbeek.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I'm not even looking at this, and I recognise the name from his tweets. Hi,
this
Baz.
is just the traditional start to a shunt.
Yeah. Hi, Baz. Long time tweeter. I think first time shunter.
I think it is.
No, we may have had one before, actually, a long time ago from Baz.
Yeah, the beginning of the year, very early, before the Great Plague. Yeah, he had a shunt in. Clue number one. I was born.
Yay.
Yes.
In 1953.
I'm going for somebody that's retired. If they're a driver,
You would, as they're going to be 67, you would think.
I started out racing snowmobiles, winning 3 world championships.
so
That's a very Scandinavian thing.
It could be Kimmy with his real age.
When the Iceman has frozen.
I then moved into racing Honda Civics, winning many races, which means I couldn't find an amount. I moved into... Sorry, I need a guess.
Oh, hell.
Oh, God.
Got all carried away then. Don't know what I'm doing. Just kick the table though.
Right, so a 67-year-old. I'm guessing somebody Scandinavian, Nordic-y type who...
Juha Kankkunen.
Now we've already had him before, but he's Finnish enough, so we'll go
for the enthusiasm alone. I think
we'll go for that because we've had Tommy Mackinnon before. Oh, hang on, was it Baz that did Tommy Mackinnon?
Could be.
Might have been.
Yeah, we'll go for Juha Kankkunen for the first one. Then I reckon
He's about the right age.
I moved into Formula Ford, then Formula Atlantic, taking Rookie of the Year in 1979. And the title in 1980, 1981, and 1981. Too many years over different clues. Sorry.
Okay, so Formula Atlantic was the East Coast sort of 2 litre series.
Is that not what Dave Daddario used to race in?
I think it was. It was also Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques Villeneuve is not 67, though.
No, but Jacques Villeneuve was also in that series because I remember the shunt I wrote. Because one of the clues was I raced in the same series as Dave Daddario, but not at the same time.
Very nice.
Number 5. In 1979, I took part in the Cannonball Run in a Porsche 928, finishing 15th.
As long as he didn't take part in Cannonball Run 2. Do we need a guess after this one?
After this clue, you do. I took part in 3 Grand Prix weekends between 1981 and 1983, but failed to qualify for every race.
So somebody Nordic who wasn't very good.
Or very good at F1, but apparently was good at Honda Civics. I mean, I only know one person with a Honda Civic, and that's Twig. And
He wouldn't qualify.
No, and it's definitely not him.
No.
God, this is...
I've got bugger all here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think I've got even less.
Well, I want a guess, no matter what.
Oh, hell.
Hang on. Well, repeat that last clue again, please, Lee.
I took part in 3 Grand Prix weekends between 1981 and 1983, but failed to qualify for the race every time.
So, I mean, don't forget, that's the era where they had pre-qualifying.
Yeah, how about somebody who maybe came back into the sport a bit later on and was a little bit older when they did, like Stefan Johansson?
Well, if they were born in 1953 and they were trying to qualify for F1 between 81 and 83, then they'd have been late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, and Stefan Johansson raced for Ferrari in the late 80s, and he was in his 30s, I think, when he was racing.
Oh, nice. Nice guess, then. That's a possibility.
Possibly.
Yeah, why not?
But then we'll see what happens as the
clues progress.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think go for that as the second guess, because that is the closest that we've got to anything.
as the shunt progresses.
Yes.
I won the 1983 Can-Am Championship, winning 3 races of the 6.
Now that was sports cars, and I think there was something almost prototypey in there, but that was basically for any driver to take part in.
I spent 5 seasons in IndyCar, scoring 1 win.
Ooh.
Right, okay.
5 seasons in IndyCar.
And only 1 win.
You know, I think Stefan Johansson might have done IndyCar at some point.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna alter this because I think this clue makes it too obvious. So
just like all the others have so far.
no, there is a place in this clue, and I'm going to replace the place with the word or letter A. I was inducted into A Motorsport Hall of Fame in 2001.
How many motorsport halls of fame are there?
I would imagine there is one for every country.
Probably, yes.
Motor racing, driving people.
So if it is the Swedish Hall of Fame, for example, it would be him and Ronnie Peterson.
I believe that this country would give away which driver it was very, very fast.
And as Ronnie Peterson had died by that point, then that just leaves Stefan Johansson as Swedish F1 drivers.
Right, you could take what I'm saying as to say it's not fucking Sweden.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we're
kind of working on the basis that this is this country's like only noted driver.
I mean, it's born too recently for one of Sean's favourites, Prince Bearer.
I can also give it like a shop mannequin. There is no dick on this one.
Is there a spaffer? Or was that the spaffer?
No, there's a number 10. So I think there is a spaffer actually, but there is a number 10. Both my brother and nephew raced in Formula 1.
Brother and nephew. So we're looking for a
And-
father-son.
Yeah, both my brother, nephew, and I would have said son raced in Formula One.
Brother, nephew, and son.
Unless I'm very, very much mistaken. And I don't believe I am.
Pick an Andretti.
Brother, nephew, and son.
Oh, no. Sorry, it must be nephew. Sorry, it's okay. I don't know. It's like, there's a different one here, but
No,
this has confused me greatly, but carry on.
If it's brother, nephew, and son, then that's one person who raced in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's a whole two-man team. Yeah, no, right. I'm going to go with the clue here because this is what he's put down, and he has said brother and nephew, and that's confused me.
So, yeah, but the brother and nephew would be father and son, you would think. So that would be a father and son that have raced in Formula
right,
One.
sorry, yeah. No, that's cool. Right, I get this now.
Right.
Right, so did Jack Brabham have a slightly less talented brother? Because David Brabham raced in Formula One. And and Jack Brabham was his dad.
I confused that slightly. I'll give you my own Spaffer because the Spaffer is again I think gives it away a little bit too easy. My son was unoriginal in the naming of his child. Oh, sorry, my brother was unoriginal in the naming of his child.
So could this be?
So it's someone whose son has the same name as them.
Or
I think I've got something. Is it the original Jacques Villeneuve who was Gilles' brother and shares a name with the other
that
Jacques
could make
Villeneuve?
some sense.
yes, I am.
There we go.
The original Jacques Villeneuve.
I said it, baby.
I got mildly confused then because when I was reading it, for some reason I read Jacques Villeneuve Senior as Gilles Villeneuve, so I was thinking it was Gilles Villeneuve. We were doing
right.
That's why I was confused. I thought, well, no, surely son should be in there somewhere, and
Yes, of course, the original Jacques Villeneuve, not quite as good.
Yes. As his brother or his nephew.
Although
What happened to Jack Senior then? Because we know what happened to Gilles.
I don't know. Is he still going, do we reckon?
I want to find out what his album's like.
Oh, yes.
No, that was that was a good one, Baz. That got us thinking right up until the end. Right, how do you send in?
That was good. I enjoyed that one.
How do you send in a shunt?
dead easy, mate. You can just send me a PM on Instagram at Total Shunt, or send me a PM on Twitter at a Total Shunt.
And please, could a couple of people send one to 3legs4wheels@gmail.com for those emergency weeks when Lee's not about, because apparently the last one I did was repeated, so I now have run out of emergency shunts.
Well, send this one, because if we have to do if we have to podcast on this Monday, I am going to the cinema.
Oh,
So,
what are you going to see?
I'm going to watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Appropriate.
Is it? No. Halloween's a week on Saturday, isn't
It's Halloween week.
I suppose it is. We've got pumpkins at work, and they're selling pumpkin spice latte in the office coffee shop. I am not partaking. Right, if you
I
want,
don't like pumpkin spice. I don't get the.
It's not a good flavour generally.
I like the spice bit, but I don't like the pumpkin bit.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I don't understand why it has to be spiced pumpkin. Why can't it just be winter spiced?
Yeah, bit of cinnamon. It's fine. Leave it.
Yeah, that works every time. Anyway, to get in touch with the rest of us, you can get the show at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And individually on Twitter, we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood 21.
and at Pablo100. We'll be back on schedule next week, so it'll just be the three of us, unless we can coax Dan out of retirement.
If we think we should coax Dan out of retirement, then
Tweet.
What should we do? Should we tweet him?
Right, I reckon
Does he check his Twitter?
he will do. If
If he gets a million notifications saying,
Yeah. Tweet us and tag at Dan Dankleton in there and use the hashtag #ComebackDan.
"Is he Dan?" Start again. Is he Dan? Dankleton?
Take 3 again. Dan Dankleton.
Dan. I can't say it. Is he Dan Dankleton?
Yes, he is.
We will never know.
Yes, he is. Thankfully, there is a link to his Twitter on the website, on the Contact Us page. There's also links to our Facebook page on there and to the Discord server, which you can join at any time. There's usually chat going on there, and we are having next week I'm hoping this works, next Wednesday, around about 8 o'clock UK time, the first 3 Legs 4 Wheels streamed actual pub quiz in a pub. But it's not going to be about Formula 1, It's just going to be a general pub quiz. Because a couple of people have been asking, when am I doing another quiz? And it's like, well, I do one in a pub every week, so I'm going to try and audio stream this, so you can join in on Discord and argue amongst yourselves when you're answering the questions.
I just tweeted 3 Legs 4 Wheels, by the way. You might want to just check that
out. Let's have a look. Yeah, that'll do. But yeah, tweet at us. Also add at Dan Dankleton and use the hashtag #ComebackDan. And let's see if we can coax him out of semi-retirement for next week.
Oh, let me edit my tweet then. I can edit my tweet.
You mean delete your tweet and do a new one because you still can't edit on Twitter?
Yeah, I'll have to do that, won't I?
Yeah.
As Lee and I were discussing quite recently.
Yeah, an edit button on Twitter would be great. We'll start the campaign for the hashtag for that next time. Right, we'll be on Discord.
Yeah, I'm sure at Jack is going to bend the knee to us.
Well, if Donald Trump wants to get an edit button on there, he'd probably do that for him.
Oh no, Donald Trump's been hacked. Did you not hear?
Oh, has he?
A Dutch newspaper reporter guessed his password on Twitter and got it right.
Well, is that what Confifi is?
I think that's his new password that he's just changed it to. Yeah, keep watching the tweets. We'll be on Discord about Over the Race this weekend, and anyone that's into iRacing, 8 o'clock UK time, 1 hour later in the US this week because our clocks go back before yours do.
Yes.
We'll see you next week, and we'll have a review of whatever happens in Portimao and look forward to the first Grand Prix at Imola in many years. We'll see you next week.
Yes, indeed.
See you next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.